Non-Islamic women can be taken as sex slaves, number one. Number two, including children. There is no age restriction. Pretend they are getting married and therefore do terrible things to these white girl children, do terrible things, and then return, go home safe with the entire ummah, like he shook his hand, and you were smiling and took a long time to agree it was terrible behavior, where the entire ummah of the Islamic men will say nothing to no one else, that terrible things are happening in large scale. In what context is pedophilia allowed?
I think in those days it was a lot different. I think not only.
Are you saying pedophilia has been good in some days in the
No, but I think what happened, if you go back to like 1400 years ago, or you go back to 2000 years ago, I think you would have seen a lot of the prophets, what maybe...
Only Muhammad, no one else.
Now,
Now, coming back to grooming, coming back to the rape gang inquiry, rape gangs, let me ask you, particularly, clearly of course I'm focused on issues in Rotherham, Rochdale,
yes,
Telford, various towns and cities across the UK, which clearly have gotten to the national media news multiple times, up and down. The simple question to both of you, please take turns, please help each other.
no problem.
Help me understand how exactly this is not Islamic. These are Pakistani
No problem.
Muslim
Okay.
men,
Okay,
old men.
right.
The victims, mostly, if not all,
Young
in
white
some
girls.
case,
Yes.
children,
Okay.
white, non-Islamic girl
Okay,
children.
You're going into details, fine.
Oh, wait.
Wait.
You see, the same
but you're-
impatience, the
let's
same
answer, let's
irresponsibility.
answer, let's
Enough, excuse me, sir.
You want me to answer? You ask the
Listen carefully, listen carefully.
Yeah.
I am
okay.
talking about a serious issue. If you don't have patience,
Yes, I know the issue.
excuse me, sir.
I agree with you.
Clearly.
There is an issue.
Sure,
There is an issue
One second.
with Pakistani
One
grooming
second.
gangs.
One second.
What is the
One
correlation
second.
between
Whoa,
Pakistani and Muslim?
1 second.
Why does that matter?
Listen carefully. 1 second. I want you to listen and then
Okay.
respond. Explain to me precisely what we have observed, where there are thousands and thousands of white girl children victims. What exactly is not Islamic in their behavior?
Where's the evidence to say
Listen
that?
carefully.
Okay.
What was the question? What exactly
Yeah.
was not Islamic in their behavior?
Did they
Everything
actually,
is not Islamic.
nothing.
Everything in
Explain.
their behavior.
Okay, so where-
Everything is not Islamic. Explain.
But where does it say that Islam was a
No, he says no. Don't ask any further question. The question I've asked requires an answer right now. If you want to behave responsibly at Speaker's Corner, but like in the past, if you want to abscond, if you want to not take responsibility like you always do, then I understand. The question I asked, what is not Islamic in their behavior? He says everything.
Everything is
Please
not
back it up.
Islamic.
Back it up, please.
How can I
One
back
second.
up a point
sorry.
if you provide me with evidence where they say this verse or this has told me to do it? Where's that? Where's your evidence for that? Where they use
He
Islam?
clearly can't provide a case. How about you?
What do you
What is-
mean? How?
one-
Just because someone is Pakistani or Indian or Italian or whatever, does
You've
it
said
matter?
what you've said. You've
Does
said
it
what
matter?
you've said.
Where's the correlation?
What's your name?
Samir.
Samir, my name is Arul.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you. Samir,
Okay.
please listen carefully.
What I mean is, where's
you
the
have said,
correlation between
I
the
heard
two?
that already.
Okay.
You are saying they are, just because they are Pakistani, they're not Islamic. But when
Right.
I'm asking you, and when I asked you what is not Islamic about their behavior, you said everything.
Everything, yes.
And when I asked you to, everything is many things together.
Mm-hmm.
When I asked you to back it up, you haven't given any details so far.
No,
If you want to give details, I'm willing to listen.
Right.
You are saying everything about that case is not, about their behavior
Yes.
is not Islamic. Please give me some details in, which constitute this everything.
Does being Pakistani correlate with being Muslim?
As a question, I'm asking you. You are saying, you are asserting. Listen, Samir, please.
How
What's
can
your
you?
name, sir?
How,
Omar.
how are you putting the two together?
Samir,
it's
one
not
second.
even an equation.
1 second. I can provide a case in a minute.
It's an ethnicity
Okay, maybe I'll
and a
provide.
religion.
Please listen. Omar, Samir, I will tell you, demonstrate how exactly this is Islamic. Yeah, I will demonstrate. Number one, non-Islamic women can be taken as sex slaves.
I knew you were going to say that.
Please listen. But I know it will be utterly shameful, but this is the reality. Non-Islamic women can be taken as sex slaves according to Islam. According to Islam. Number one. Excuse me, sir, please one. Number one. Number two. A man. So, please.
Where does Islam
Number
say
two.
that? Where does Islam say
The
that?
lady doesn't have to be in our, the lady doesn't have to be an adult. According to Islam, you can have a child
Where
because
Islam-
there is no.
Where does Islam say Islam?
I shall finish and then you can respond.
No.
In the meantime, if you
Substantiate.
interject, I will take you to be someone who doesn't want the details to come
No,
out.
substantiate.
So I'm going to make my points clear, sir.
What
If you can
substantiate?
employ patience until then.
Substantiate what you are saying.
Please, I will. Non-Islamic women can be taken as sex slaves. Number one. Number two, including children. There is no age restriction. One second. There is no age restriction. Number two. Number three, Islamic men can leave behind niqab ladies back at home and go find new sex partners, including, like I said, the right hands possess sex slaves who could be children. So men can together, Islamic men can together, according to Sharia, this is halal. They can leave behind their niqab 3 or 4 ladies anywhere.
had this conversation with
please,
many-
don't interject.
a lot of
You were
people already.
earlier.
had it answered for you
Excuse
as
me,
well.
please,
I've seen
sir.
the videos.
Excuse me, sir. You are a desperate man. When I asked you to
speaking the
provide
whole time.
negative
You've been
evidence,
speaking
you
the
could
whole
not.
time. Let him speak.
You
When I
tried-
asked
you're
you,
trying to correlate
when I asked you,
being Pakistani.
when I asked you to,
Just ask
people
him
who
evidence.
Let him
don't
speak.
even care about their religion.
3, men can leave behind their women,
We won't provide that.
including
He's already
the,
had this conversation with
and
many
can
people.
go
I've seen it.
after their new targets. Point number 3. They can secretly engage in this. Excuse me, if you don't hide the camera, please. If you please don't hide the camera.
He wanted
Thank
to
you.
ask you a question.
Sure. No, that's a child. You are the grown-up child here, so I'm trying to speak to you. Samir, thank you very much. At least you're laughing. That's good. Now, point number 4: men can beat up their women. They are sex slaves. Can be beaten according to the Quran, and therefore, men anyway, the treatment of men, anyway, the treatment of men towards women is that of sex slavery. So they can, according to Islam, halal, engage, pretend they are getting married,
He's not even let me speak.
and therefore do terrible things to these white girl children, do terrible things, and then return, go home safe with the entire ummah, like he shook his hand, and you were smiling and took a long time to agree it was terrible behavior, where the entire ummah of the Islamic men will say nothing to no one else, that terrible things are happening in large scale across the nation. In other words, every detail, excuse me, sir,
You can let.
all
I'm gonna
details,
ask my opinion on that.
all details corresponding to the case, shout out very clearly, this is Islamic. All the details that I've given, that we observe, are demonstrably
Not one word has come
Islamic.
out of any of those evil men to say that it is Islamic. Not one
That's
word
very
has
true.
come out.
So I'll tell you. On top of what I've said already, on top of all that I've said already about the pedo sex slavery, one second. On top of what I've said already about the pedo sex slavery, Islam also requires Islamic men to lie and not put the name of Islam to disrepute openly. And if all that it takes
Now that-
is to
that-
lie
that is just-
and hide their criminality,
That is
they
just-
would do that
Sorry,
also. So I don't expect any of them.
Shorts references.
Are you mentally ill? Should I ring 999? Do you need ambulance? Do you need ambulance, sir? If it is just loo that you need, please go. Too much of clearly fluid inside that you're behaving like a nutter. Thank you. Samir, so I've given specific points. Please engage. One second. I can give you precise references. Where? I'll give it. The gentleman, the young man wants.
Where's the evidence
You
of
see,
Christian
you will
men?
never. I told you, didn't I?
Every single Pakistani
Did I not tell you? He will never engage
I've just
with
said
the
I'm
problem
against-
that I bring up,
I've
will
just
only
said-
complain about something else.
No,
And
I'm not.
abdicate.
I'm using
Stay
your
quiet.
argument against
You
myself,
are-
against yourself.
Engage.
I'm using your,
Samir,
your argument.
Samir, I'm going to be one last time.
Are they-
One.
My friend.
I'm
Are
going
they-
to, please,
are-
one second.
Go on.
Let
One
me give the reference.
Listen carefully.
Yes, sir.
I am now speaking about serious issues.
It's a very serious
I
issue.
haven't finished. I haven't finished.
I understand that.
You
Okay, go on.
clearly don't
I
understand.
understand.
So don't waffle on again.
I'm not.
Until
You're
I
not letting
finish.
me say one more line.
Until
Okay,
I
finish.
finish.
Please, finish. No problem.
What I'm going to tell you is this.
Yes,
Your
sir.
latest point, which I've stopped you on, is that there are white men also doing stuff. That's what you were going to say.
No.
What were you going
They
to
are
say?
they are Christian. If a white Christian man, the same way you say a Pakistani Muslim man, commits these, goes around and has rape gangs, right? And you pose a question that they do it in the name of Islam. Islam allows them. Why are you not saying that Christianity allows
In
them?
other words-
and
in other
just
words-
to be so
in
just so
other words, you know
I
what
do
you've
not
done?
agree with any Pakistani grooming gang.
In other words, you know what you've done so far? Instead of engaging,
Every point you provide,
Am I allowed to record?
You
I
never look
heard
at-
you,
you're not looking
now
at
I am
yourself.
speaking. I heard you, now I am speaking.
Yes, okay,
In
go on.
other words, you haven't taken the trouble to take the issue that I am highlighting seriously.
of course I do. It's a
I haven't
massive
finished.
issue.
I haven't finished. Don't interject every now
You
and
can't
then.
put words in my mouth because it is a massive issue.
Listen carefully. When you spoke, I listened.
Okay.
If you want to be intelligent, when I speak, listen.
You're not listening because I have said multiple times it's a
Listen
massive
carefully.
issue. It's a massive
When
issue.
you spoke,
Yes.
at least I didn't interject. When I
Very
speak,
quickly you interject.
I'm going to try one last time.
Okay, go on.
If you do the same, if you do the same, I will move on just to Omar. The problem that I'm the same, Omar, can you see? At least you're a much better man than Samir. And I'll tell you why. You understand the gravity of the problem we are dealing with, and you're trying to find out, and I can see.
Not to say he is.
Omar, please don't defend him. This fellow, Samir, clearly is better behaved than the other troublemaker who was here earlier. Clearly better behaved, but
there are
is not
Christians
one
and
Samir.
Hindus that behave like that.
No, Omar, please. But clearly not as well behaved as is required for him to now focus on the problem at hand. He asked me earlier what evidence I have to suggest that the Pakistani Muslim men's behavior was Islamic. I gave specific details. What did I say? Pakistani Muslim men or any Muslim man is allowed to have non-Islamic sex slaves, number one. They can be children, number two. And they can, please
We need
listen.
the references.
They can find,
references.
yeah, okay. So, Surah 60, no, once. Surah 65, Ayat 4. They can be children. Surah 70, Ayat 29, 30. Surah 23, Ayat 6. Surah 33, Ayat 50. Ayat 52 talks about the non-Islamic. Excuse me, stay quiet. The Quran, this is from the Quran. Listen carefully. Don't touch me, my young friend. Go speak to your parents. Thank you. Now, so these are right hand passages. You know the right hand passages. So these are all from the Quran. And they ought to be treated as sex slaves. Surah 2, Ayah 2 to 3. And essentially, you can go find secret sex slaves. You don't have to explain to who are at home. You don't have to keep any commitments to those who are at home. So the Islamic women may not know anything at all about this behavior. That's Surah 66, Ayat 1. You can beat even the sex slaves up. Surah 4, Ayah 34. Many references. This is firmly Islamic. What we found in Rotherham, Rochdale, which very likely is happening even today. With big shots trying to hide, we have serious problems. So tell me how exactly, against all the evidence that I have given you, tell me why is this not Islamic?
Why is that not Islamic? Well, it's not Islamic. Islamic doesn't. You tell me one person that actually preaches you to take sex slaves and rape them.
I have given you passages. I've given you multiple passages.
Can you read
I have
it?
given Omar. Tell me one thing in the Quran which you will use. One second. Let's once. Omar, please focus, please. Omar. Let's do a simple experiment. I have given Quranic passages, positive testimony for what they have done to be Islamic behavior. One.
There's no evidence to say that that was the catalyst for those grooming gang.
So you read the Quran, you do according to the Quran. What is halal? That's Islamic, isn't it? If
Yeah,
Islam says something is halal,
Yes.
are Islamic men expected to do it or not?
Not necessarily.
Well,
Not
there's
necessarily.
1.2 billion Muslims in this world, okay? The majority of them don't go around treating women as sex slaves.
But do you realize you have completely escaped the question I asked? When the Quran says something is Islamic behavior, when Islamic men do it, will they be happy to do it or not?
From
Not answering.
no. From a
It's a
personal
simple
pers-
question.
No, no.
Yeah,
From a
sir.
personal perspective, I wouldn't do that. No, and I don't.
No,
think
yeah,
it
of
has-
course, I
it doesn't-
completely agree.
it doesn't-
This is why I'm saying you are ashamed.
No, no,
But my point
they
isn't,
don't practice that.
Omar,
People don't practice that.
Omar, my point is not what they did was Omarism. You are Omar.
Yeah.
I'm not saying what they did was Omarism. I am saying what they did was Islam. You are ashamed. I can see that in your behavior that you are ashamed of that behavior. And I'm quite happy about that. Except the problem is what they did was perfectly Islamic. It doesn't even
That's
come
where
from the
we
hadiths.
disagree.
Okay, I'll go through the list again. Tell me which part you disagree with.
Well, I don't believe.
Please
they
listen.
did
One
this because
second.
they-
One second. Tell me which part you disagree with. Islam allows sex slaves from among non-Muslims. Surah 70, Ayah 29-30. Surah 23, Ayah 6. Surah 33, Ayah 50 and Ayah 52. A few examples. Women, Muslim men are allowed to have non-Islamic sex slaves. Point number one. Point number two.
but that's
Second,
not
point.
practice.
Wow,
That's
wow,
not
please,
practice.
Omar, please listen. Point number two. These sex slaves can be children. Surah 66, Surah 65, Ayat 4. These sex slaves can be children. Point number three. The men can treat them as sex objects. Surah 2, Ayah 223. The men can secretly engage in these activities without telling their women, the niqab women at home. They can secretly engage. Number three. Number four, Surah 66, Ayat 1. They don't have to keep any commitments anyway to their niqab women at home, which means they can pretend this is Islamic marriage when according to us it's clearly criminal behavior of pedo sex slavery. But this is quiet Islamic halal.
Un-Islamic.
Can you imagine the level of stupidity involved here? Listening to music is haram in Islam, but doing terrible things to non-Islamic white girl children in the hundreds and the thousands for decades in our nation is halal.
Who said it's
What
halal?
now?
Who
You
said
tell
it's
me.
halal?
One second.
Who said it's
To you,
halal? Bring the
excuse me.
evidence, bring the evidence.
You tell me what in the Quran I've given you positive evidence for how their behavior is Islamic. You show me one, please listen. Please, Omar, please. Show me one thing in the Quran which you would use to tell them that they are terribly wrong. Tell me one thing
I'm
that
not-
you would use from the Quran.
I'm not a scholar, okay, so I don't know in what context that was actually written.
Listen carefully.
Yeah.
What I've told you. In what context is pedophilia allowed?
I think in those days it was a lot different. I think not only
Are you saying pedophilia has been good in some days in the
no,
times
but I
past?
think what happened if you go back to like 1400 years ago or you go back to 2000 years ago, I think you would have seen a lot of the prophets what maybe
Only Muhammad,
No, what
no
was-
one else.
Okay.
So I'll ask you again.
so what was maybe 13 years old in those days is probably maybe 21
6
now.
years old.
Okay,
6 years old.
Well,
Well, that's what
I-
your records say. So tell me again.
Okay, well, let's-
tell me, please tell me again. At what point in time, please you employ your judgment, at what point in time is pedophilia permitted, especially
It's never allowed.
never allowed? It's criminal at any point in time.
Yeah.
And for someone who claims to be an agent of God, how much more evil should that man be to employ in this? You tell me. What grade would you give for that man? What grade? Terrible. What grade would you give to a man who claimed to be a messenger of a religion who engaged in pedophilia?
No, he's a
Please listen,
perfect
Omar.
example. He's a perfect example.
Ah, right. So Muhammad's pedophilia is perfect
He's not a
example.
paedophile. Don't say that, okay?
So engaging
No.
in sexual relationship with children, what is the term you want to use?
I think
And
in
when
those days-
exactly is it
I think
acceptable?
In those days it was different.
So help me understand in which period of I'll make it really simple.
Well-
Are you saying one second?
Well, you're
You are
arguing-
no one second. I'll make it really simple. As a British Muslim, are you saying Muhammad having engaged in a pedophile act, despite having engaged in a pedophile act, is a good example for all mankind throughout history? Is that what you're telling me?
Okay, for that.
Is that what you're telling
That's
me?
not written in the Quran.
Is that what you're telling me?
Now, what I'm saying, okay, if he was a paedophile, he married her at 6, consummated the marriage at 9. So why didn't he consummate the marriage at 6
No,
then?
sorry.
So let's deal with only 9.
No.
Let's deal with only 9. Is a 9-year-old girl a child or not?
Well, I don't.
He didn't marry her at
in
9.
today's world, no. Yes, she is.
She was
In this-
18.
At what point in time is a 9-year-old child anything other than a child?
She was maybe.
She
I
was
don't know.
18. No, she was
Cover. Look at the milkshake. So you said you are not a scholar, but the milkshake here, he is a scholar. Look at the milkshake. He knows. The milkshake knows. You see the milkshake?
I will now. I will.
No, she was.
The Islamic milkshake there, he knows. He knows this is terrible.
I know.
Omar,
Yes.
this is the reality. You now have to decide.
Yeah.
You now have to decide whether you side with that milkshake.
He's my brother in Islam. Of course. I
One
side
second,
with him.
please listen. You can decide, but hear me out properly and then decide. You are now deciding between a Christian who calls out pedophilia to be please listen, to be evil in a timeless manner, between me as a Christian and Jesus and Christianity, versus Muhammad who engaged in a pedophile act, regardless of what time, whatever nonsense excuse he gave, especially claiming that he was a messenger, and with the milkshake who came around knowing, and he himself is ashamed and therefore he hides behind cameras. You now have to decide. You are in the UK, thankfully you're not in Pakistan anymore. So because you are in the UK, you can deny Muhammad, reject Islam, and get our protection. Now tell me, would you leave this pedophile who engaged in pedophilia, yet claiming he was a best example for humanity? Is that who you want to side with? And therefore approving the thousands of the white girl children who have been, and God knows how many are
Are
still
you saying
victims.
There's no Christian paedophiles. Is that what you're saying?
No, that is not an answer.
Okay.
I know.
Am I saying, okay, so far what has happened? So Omar is not ashamed. He wants to defend Islam.